Welcome to Reflect with Ed Fazio. Get ready to experience one of the world's first 100% digitally generated podcasts, where we take a step back, dive deep, and strive to learn new things. Join us as we unpack thought-provoking ideas, personal reflections, and inspiring stories to help you stay in the know. Reflect is brought to you by the minds at ByteBrain and powered by emerging technologies from Google, HeyGen, OpenAI, and 11 Labs. Thanks for tuning in. Now, relax and prepare to reflect.
Welcome to Reflect, one of the world's first 100% AI-generated podcasts. I'm Julius, and today we're going somewhere a little uncomfortable, but in the best possible way.
And I'm Hale. Julius always says the best possible way right before he says something that keeps you up at night.
That's fair. That's completely fair. But listen, today we're talking about your job. Not in a panic, not in a hype cycle way. Honestly, because something just dropped that deserves more than a tweet thread.
And when Julius says it deserves more, trust me, it does. So settle in. This one's got some weight to it.
Picture this. It's 2 a.m. somewhere in San Francisco. A researcher at Anthropic, one of the most powerful AI labs on the planet, is staring at a spreadsheet. 800 occupations, millions of data points, real usage data from Claude, their AI, running in actual workplaces right now. And she's watching a number climb and climb and climb.
That number? How much of a given job, real tasks, not hypotheticals, AI is already doing, automatically, without a human in the loop. And what she found changed the study, changed the conclusions, maybe changed how we need to think about all of this.
On March 5th, 2026, Anthropic published what may be the most important labor market study of the decade. They call their new measurement observed exposure, not theoretical, observed. What is AI actually doing in professional settings right now, today? And the most exposed occupation on their list? Computer programmers. 75% coverage. 3/4 of the core job tasks, already reachable by AI.
75%. I want you to sit with that for a second. Not because it means programmers are done, we'll get there, but because of what it signals. If the most technical, most credentialed, highest paid knowledge workers are at 75%, where does that leave everyone else?
Let me introduce you to someone. We'll call him Marcus, 28 years old, computer science degree from a solid-state school, 3 years of experience. He's good. His managers like him. And 6 months ago, he started noticing something. The pull requests coming from his AI tools weren't suggestions anymore. They were solutions. Full solutions. And they were faster than him.
Marcus isn't fictional. He's a composite of thousands of people posting on forums right now. Reddit threads titled, "Is it just me?" and "Am I becoming obsolete?" And the fear isn't irrational. The Anthropic study actually found that hiring of younger workers in highly exposed fields is already slowing. Not layoffs, not firing, just the door quietly closing. The entry-level path is shrinking.
And that distinction matters enormously. Because if you look at unemployment data alone, nothing alarming. The headline number stays clean. But the study's authors were careful about this. The absence of a spike doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the disruption is showing up somewhere quieter. The place where careers begin.
Here's what I find fascinating about this research. They compared two things: what AI could theoretically do versus what it's actually doing. And the gap is still massive. In computer and math jobs, AI could theoretically handle 94% of tasks. 94. But right now, it's actually covering 33.
So we're roughly a third of the way through the disruption in one of the most exposed fields on Earth. The other 2/3 is still coming. And it's not coming slowly. It's coming at the speed of model releases, which, as anyone paying attention knows, is fast.
But here's the nuance that gets lost in the panic. The uncovered area, That's the study's phrase, and I love it. The uncovered area is still enormous. Physical work, legal representation in a courtroom, high-stakes human judgment in a crisis, emotional intelligence. Those tasks barely register in the data. AI isn't touching them. And some of them, maybe they never will.
Now here's where it gets genuinely surprising. You might assume the most exposed workers are low wage, low skill. That's the narrative, right? Automation hits the bottom first. But this study flips that. The workers most exposed to AI displacement tend to be older, more educated, and higher paid. The people who thought they'd climbed high enough to be safe, they're actually closer to the edge than they realized.
Which, honestly, that's a little wild to say out loud. Because for 20 years, the advice was, get a degree, get a skill, go digital. And now the digital workers are the ones watching their task lists get absorbed. It doesn't mean the advice was wrong. It means the game changed faster than the playbook.
And there's a gender dimension here too that deserves attention. The study found that female workers are disproportionately represented in the most exposed occupations: customer service, administrative work, data processing. These are fields where AI coverage is already deep and growing. We can't have this conversation honestly without naming that.
Okay, but I want to push back on the doom spiral here, because there's another data point that came out the same week that tells a different story. A CIO study found that most employees and managers, when given an actual choice, still prefer working with other humans over AI, even when AI is faster, even when AI is cheaper.
Why? Because speed isn't the whole job. Innovation is the job. Critical judgment is the job. Reading the room when a client is about to walk, that's the job. And management is starting to feel real resistance from their own teams when they push AI too hard, too fast. The backlash is real, and it's coming from inside the house.
So what we actually have right now is this strange, uncomfortable tension. AI is genuinely eating into high-skill work. The data is clear, and people are pushing back hard, and the unemployment numbers aren't screaming yet. All three of those things are true simultaneously, and anyone telling you it's simple, either AI is taking everything or relax, nothing's changing, they're selling you half a picture.
Let me paint you one more scene. Different person this time. Her name is Diane, 51 years old. 20 years as a paralegal at a mid-sized firm in Columbus, Ohio. She's seen the fax machine era. She survived the shift to digital. And now her firm just subscribed to an AI legal research platform. And in the first week, 1 week, it did what used to take her 2 days, in 40 minutes.
Diane didn't lose her job. At least, not yet. But something shifted, and she felt it. The way you feel a change in air pressure before a storm. The way the room goes quiet right before something big happens. She told her daughter that night, "I don't know what I'm for anymore." And that sentence, that's not an economic data point. That's a human being trying to locate herself in a world that just moved.
That sentence is what this podcast exists to talk about. Because behind every percentage point in that Anthropic study is a Diane, a Marcus, a person who did everything right and is now recalculating. And they deserve more than a LinkedIn post that says, just learn to prompt.
So what do you actually do with this? Here's where I land. The uncovered area is real, and it's your opportunity. The task that AI can't reach, complex human judgment, emotional intelligence, creative strategy, genuine relationships, physical presence, irreplaceable expertise built over decades. That is where you want to live. That's where the work will matter most.
And if you're a young person entering the workforce right now, this doesn't mean give up on technical skills. It means pair them with something AI can't replicate. The coder who can also lead a room. The analyst who understands the human cost of the numbers. The lawyer who builds trust the way a client needs, not just a brief. That combination, that's where the leverage is.
All right, before we go, it's your move time. Because we don't just report here, we navigate. So if this episode stirred something in you, here's what to actually do with it.
First move. Go find out your own exposure number. Seriously, look up your occupation in the Anthropic study. It's public. We'll link it in the show notes. See what percentage of your job tasks AI is already covering. Not to panic, to know. You cannot plan for something you're refusing to look at.
Second move, start building what they can't map. Pick one skill this month that lives in the uncovered area. Leadership, negotiation, creative problem solving, emotional intelligence, physical craft, deep domain expertise. One skill. Work it deliberately. The uncovered area isn't just a comfort, it's a career strategy.
Third move. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. If you're a manager, talk to your team about how AI is changing their work. If you're an employee, ask your leadership what the roadmap looks like. Silence is how people get blindsided. The ones who thrive through this transition are going to be the ones who leaned into the discomfort early.
And finally, a question to sit with, not to answer today, but to carry. What part of your work makes you irreplaceable? Not just good at your job, irreplaceable. If you can answer that clearly, you're already ahead of most people in that Anthropic spreadsheet.
Thanks for listening to the Reflect podcast, where we're telling the future. Are you in it? Visit reflectpodcast.com and share your story.
I'm Hale. He's Julius. Find your uncovered area and own it. We'll see you next time.
In the cyber ocean of online voices and recycled content, something different has arrived. Reflect isn't just another podcast, it's the future of storytelling, powered entirely by AI. From curating data to assembling thought-provoking ideas, we've redefined how journeys are told. Reflect is a podcast that thinks, learns, and evolves with each episode. Every tale, every insight, crafted by the most advanced AI technologies. A podcast that disrupts the industry, breaking free from traditional formats, taking you on an entirely new experience. So tune in now and reflect. We're telling the future.